Welcome to the first of our hopefully a consistent series of In Conversations with. Our first guest today is Professor Michael Rosemann from QUT. I'm really excited to have him here today. He's been a mentor of mine for many years. I was initially your student.
Correct, yes, a long time ago.
Yeah, more than a decade ago. So we've been keeping in touch and been good friends ever since. I'll let you tell a little bit about yourself and what you do in QUT.
Thanks. So Mervyn, it's great to be here. I'm equally excited and lovely to see you, of course, again. As you know, I'm a professor at QUT for information systems. I actually like to relabel it to innovation systems. I would love the idea of being the first professor for innovation systems. But in that space, we try to work out what is innovation, what's a system that supports innovation, what do new graduate students have to know about innovation, and how do we embed scalable, efficient, attractive innovation systems in large corporations across all kinds of industries.
Yeah, and I know that you've been busy doing that and various other things and speaking as well. So do you even lecture anymore these days? Or?
I love lecturing. I don't do it as often as I would love to, but yes, I'm lecturing undergraduate, postgraduate classes, and it's a great sounding board when you talk to digital natives as opposed to established corporate thinkers. So it's a fertile ground to test your own ideas. So I appreciate this a lot, and it's bi-directional value, I hope.
That's great. So let's move to the next topic. So this is really the topic about the future, the horizon. We I guess as innovation and opportunity people like ourselves, we always look at the next step and the next step and the next step before people are still kind of coming to grips with what we were talking about innovation. How do you see trends? We talked about professions, individual professions changing, opening their eyes to new ways of doing things, and their profession titles might change. In an organization, we talked about the I guess innovation trend now needing to stabilize and kind of know what they're doing. What's next? You mentioned that first time ever someone's hired an opportunity officer.
Yeah.
How do you see, I guess, us as professionals, organizations themselves having to change their capability or change the way they think and the culture for the next 3 to 5 years?
Yes. So you're right, we covered the individual, we covered the corporation. I think this is now important to cover bigger economic changes. And the way we characterize this is in 3 stages. So what we've seen so far is what we call the economy of corporations, where we have business analysts and business processes and enterprise architects, where what we do is we try to meaningfully automate the organization. Now what happens is, in the world of digitization, we empower people. And all of a sudden, people have high level of digital literacy, they have cost-effective devices, and they produce content, news, they become part of value chains. I wouldn't be surprised if in the future we have something like a people architect. We develop software for people. So I talked earlier about the enterprise architect can either scale up and deal with entire platforms, ecosystems, entire value networks. I also see a massive opportunity for enterprise architects to develop solutions for people or families. And in the economy of people, organizations will come to people. People will have a private data bucket. You will put up your shoes, and the data from your running behavior end up in the Mervyn Chung database. Your bank will stream their bank details and transactions to your private database. And every time you go and buy a new TV, you create a new asset record in the Mervyn Chung family resource planning system. So in that sort of world, people will start to meaningfully automate the birth to death value chain, their life. And in that world, they will allow companies or not to take part in their life. So you bring your own data. You go to an insurance company and they can see certain attributes. You go to your healthcare provider and you give them access to certain data. Or you go to a university and say, that's what I know, what do I need to know? So personal recommender systems, elements that will automate pieces of your life, become a next opportunity. And I think if I would be the enterprise architect today, I would either have my focus on architecting large, but then often inter-organizational complex value chains, or to focus in the economy of people, the digitally empowered humans, to really create life or people systems.
Yeah.
The third phase is what I call the economy of things. when your house, your car becomes so advanced, so mature, so empowered that you will delegate tasks to your car. That it's a world where you hop in your car and say, car, find the cheapest car insurer. And then the car will negotiate with insurance companies. But these insurance companies don't talk to a human anymore, so I can't sell any emotion-based marketing.
Yeah.
So in that world of business-to-thing interactions, we need software developers, software architects, enterprise architects, business process designers who understand what does it mean when humans and machines coexist, interact. And we're not there yet, and it might take quite a while. But for me, that also means I strongly suggest that the kind of professionals we talked about today have a close eye on the emerging world of smart devices and try to predict, if not humans, but sort of devices become trusted players. What are the implications for the way we do developing or architecting today?
Yeah, I mean, technologies are changing where you're actually able to build these things easier and easier and faster. So, these ideas or having the car talk to the insurance broker and so on wouldn't come to play if you don't have, titles like chief opportunity officers. You don't have people who are out there looking at opportunities and technologies and different trends that's happening and being able to then make it real for an organization they're working for.
I agree, but I think, again, it brings us up to the very first topic of combining social and technological skills.
Yeah.
Someone said recently that the driverless car is much more social than a technological change. We did the math, and if cars will be driverless, we will unlock hundreds of thousands of years every year. The question is, how do I populate them? The car of the future might spot an empty car park. Who do I tell that there's a car park? I don't need a car park, but I know what's happening. And so there will be so many new opportunities emerging that go far beyond automating the car. If we don't put the internet in the car, but the car to the internet, what are the implications? So I think it's important that we break the mindset of a lot of IT professionals who perceive my role in life is to automate reality. That is reacting to what I've got. The new digital world will be so opportunity rich. This is not just about reactive automation, this is very proactive digitization.
Yeah.
And the act of spotting an opportunity must mean I have to see things that currently do not exist.
Yeah.
And that's a very rare skill.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to also humanizing it. It comes down to actually knowing yourself or knowing your organization, because so oftentimes I come across situations where you're talking to the CIO of an organization and innovation just falls on their lap, and then suddenly, because everyone's doing it, and so we've got to do it, and you've got the opportunity to now it's your thing, and you kind of have to spit out innovation. Your KPI could be 10 innovative ideas a year. That I think it's not the right way, because firstly, what we know with CIOs these days is they're busy managing the systems they already got and making sure it runs. They don't have the capacity or the thinking space, or even that's not their comfort zone to actually innovate, let alone stabilize the innovation to actually make it real, but let alone even opportunities. I think your example of having an organization intentionally having a separate person to do innovation, having a separate person do opportunities, it's really, I think, the way to go, to actually know yourself, to know your organization, to know your limitations of the role, and either evolve or split it out and have someone who's really good at doing that thing to do that thing, rather than forcing someone.
But I agree with this, but I believe we have to kind of scaffold something around this person.
Yeah.
So you might be able to appoint a chief opportunity officer. What do they do on Monday morning? How do they know that this opportunity is more important than this one?
Yeah.
And so our recommendation typically is we have to take the strong technology focus out of the digital economy. So if you hear today disruption or innovation or digital, you think big data, social or mobile computing or Internet of Things or blockchain. So it's a strong story around technologies and what they can do. We want to flip this around and say these technologies, they're not a means to an end. I'm not implementing the Internet of Things or blockchain. What do I try to achieve? So we call this purpose-led innovation. I give you an example, the city of Brisbane. And imagine you go to a conference called Smart Cities. There would be a lot of technology vendors who talk about smart waste, smart traffic, smart lighting, and so on. How do you now, as a chief opportunity officer, in which track do I sit? Now, if you don't have a purpose, what sort of city do you want? A safe city, international city, a vibrant city, a city that attracts entrepreneurs? And so you have to work out what's the purpose of your organization first, and this purpose is like a filter for the sort of technologies you need.
Yeah.
But it's important that the chief opportunity officer puts the organization in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
The chief opportunity officer should not just say, I scan technology after technology and work out what can I do with it.
Yeah.
You have to be in the driver's seat, and you have to have some intentions. And I fear a lot of corporations, CIOs and individual professionals are driven by technologies and not by purpose.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, a lot of times I think failing that, you kind of would have a lot of new shiny things in the organization, but they don't ultimately hit the true value of what the organization wants to achieve. Well, I think that's really good. I think you know, we've got really good discussions and insights. Thank you very much.
No, it's been a pleasure, and I
joining.
appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much, Michael.